You sip plain water and taste cinnamon. No spice rack in sight. What if that phantom flavor isn't your tongue playing tricks, but your spirit guide sending a message? Time slows for a moment, as if the sun's rays settle, golden and curious, across your kitchen. The tap water is cool against your lips, and yet, unmistakably, a complex swirl of cinnamon, warm, spicy, honeyed at the edges. You touch your lips and sniff the rim of the glass, your eyes scanning the countertop for the logical answer. But nothing's there. Still, the taste lingers and glows, weaving an invisible thread between the physical and the mysterious center of you. The flavor startles you, carries you beyond what's routine and expected. Maybe you laugh, slightly unnerved, or blink to be sure you're truly awake, not sleepwalking through some aromatic dream. Or maybe the cinnamon brings you back to a memory, or a song, or simply a sense of being more alive than you were a moment ago. That first rush of curiosity, maybe even a prick of doubt, can become a ripple. Why did this happen? Is it neurological? Was the glass washed with cinnamon soap? Am I tasting my own thoughts somehow? You try to shake off the flavor, but it clings softly, as if whispering for acknowledgement. The mind resists, cataloging possible reasons. Did I chew gum earlier? Was a neighbor making chai? You know those explanations aren't satisfying. You want more. You want the thrill of meaning, and then perhaps, as the flavor ebbs, you're not just working out the math of flavor physics. You're called to ask what it means, to listen, even if only for a heartbeat, for what this sudden gust of invisible cinnamon might reveal about you. Stepping back from wonder, your logical mind tries to categorize the anomaly. Phantom tastes, called phantogeusia in medical language, are, on the surface, a known phenomenon. You may never have heard the Latin naming before. Phanto, illusion, and geusia, taste. The textbooks will tell you it's not as rare as you'd thought, though it goes unstated so often between friends and over the dinner table. Most people have, at least once, encountered an elusive taste. A metallic tang with no blood. A burst of sweetness with nothing sweet. Doctors know it's as real as a headache or a shiver up the spine. Biologically speaking, your taste buds are a dense wildflower field, microcosmic clusters that gather signals, translating chemical contact into electrical language for the brain to decipher. Every bite you eat is an orchestra of neurons, lighting up and fading in sequence, creating the music of perception. Salty, sour, umami, sweet, bitter. The system's precision is delicate. When a flavor comes with no food, the orchestra plays uninvited. Sometimes this is due to nerve signals misfiring, tiny tastes generated by the chaos of a tired or overtaxed nervous system. A lingering infection or sinus congestion might ghost a flavor into being. Disrupted taste nerves can send odd signals, particularly after dental work, illness, or even subtle shifts in blood chemistry. Medication enters, uninvited, in the phantogeusia story too. Some antidepressants, antibiotics, and blood pressure meds list metallic or bizarre taste as a side effect, an unchoreographed duet between synthetic molecules and your living tissue. Oral health issues, swollen gums, or unnoticed cavities sometimes radiate peculiar flavors, a coppery edge, a sour undertone. Then there's the realm of olfactory crossfire, your nose's silent influence on the taste you register, weaving together a taste illusion that seems to emanate from nowhere and everywhere at once. And yet, for all these medical footnotes and neural tangents, the core of the experience stirs something deeper. Because what if none of these completely explains the cinnamon in your water? What if your body is not malfunctioning, but translating energy? What if that flavor, arriving suddenly and unprompted, is a coded message? An invitation for your senses to pay attention, to press your hand to your heart and wonder, as quietly as possible, is there something I'm meant to receive in this moment? By the way, if you're feeling your energy shifting while listening to this, I've created a free ebook for you called The Magic of Affirmations to help you align your energy and intentions effortlessly each day. You'll find the link in the description below. We'll drift now from the body's anatomy to the mind's shimmering edges, where science lays down its microscope and the soul takes up a magnifying glass of its own. Across thousands of years and continents, humans have always known there's something deliciously mysterious about taste, especially when it appears without warning, as if summoned through the veils that separate the ordinary from the sacred. Ayurveda, the earthy architecture of ancient Indian medicine, tells a story not just of physical bodies, but of spiritual currents. According to these traditions, phantom flavors aren't glitches, but signals. Each taste relates to one of your chakras, the spinning wheels of energy said to line your spine from root to crown. A sudden sweet taste isn't just pleasant coincidence. It's a nudge from your heart chakra, perhaps, asking for softness, inviting you to open or forgive. If you taste something bitter, it may be your body's invisible wisdom nudging attention to solar plexus blockages, unprocessed anger, depleted will, energy hungering for movement. Sour might swirl around the sacral, echoing creativity in transition, relationships poised for renewal or gentle letting go. Modern intuitive practitioners, threading ancient teachings with present-day insight, speak of downloads arriving as sudden tastes. You feel a phantom flavor as spirit guides brush close, as if tracing messages across your taste buds instead of your mind. This is not so different from how animals sense storms before they surface, or how birds change their migration patterns hours before weather shifts. The flavor has a feeling in your body, a shape in your chest, a tug behind your eyes. Cinnamon, sweet and spicy, might signal the presence of an ancestral guardian, reminding you of resilience hard-won and the warmth of home. Blandness, paradoxically, can indicate a moment of spiritual rest, the space between downloads, a pause woven thick with potential. In these moments, attention is the spell. The more conscious you are of the experience, the more the story within the flavor reveals itself. Perhaps you're walking to a meeting, tense with anticipation, when a rush of unexpected peppermint floods your mouth, momentarily freezing your anxiety and cooling the heat in your thoughts. You pause. Was this peppermint a grounding sign? A call to clarity? In the world of energy work, flavors appear not as random static, but as gentle, physical reminders that you are not alone. The universe is neither mute nor indifferent. Even if you are skeptical, the taste refuses to flatten into insignificance. It tugs you, midlife, out of habit and assumption into awareness. What, right now, is trying to come through? All spiritually attuned traditions believe in some form that the senses are gateways to knowledge. Psychic mediums sometimes describe certain flavors as predictive signs. A coppery tang may be the body's way of flagging a burst of intuitive warning, a delicate note of rose petal, a preview of upcoming love or forgiveness, as if the heart is rehearsing for a reunion yet to arrive. It is as if the universe, in moments of spacious stillness, chooses the sense of taste as its postage stamp, sending missives in honey or salt, or the faint blue taste of metal. Some report clove as a harbinger of coming clarity, or a metallic taste as the prelude to a karmic reckoning, a fork in a spiritual road, signaling, pay attention, choice is coming. This isn't just poetic speculation. Across mystical literature, flavors are woven through visions and revelations. In biblical accounts, the prophet Ezekiel tastes a scroll and finds it sweet as honey. Hildegard of Bingen's visions arrive with flavors of fresh bread, signaling spiritual nourishment. Even the skeptical, yes, even you perhaps, can, with quiet attention, detect how the flavor precedes the insight. A salty pang on the tongue, then tears rising unbidden. A taste of burnt sugar, then an old wound softening, ready to heal. Guides on both sides of the worlds, earthly and spiritual, use taste as an intimate language, too subtle to ignore, too potent to dismiss. We can drift further into how this mystical tasting is not isolated to one culture, but is a deep, almost universal thread. In Chinese medicine, taste is the instrument by which the body reveals balance or disharmony in the organs, and by extension, the heart of a person's spiritual condition. A sudden bitterness can be the voice of the liver's energy, too hot or too stagnant, leaving a signature in the mouth to prod awareness. Sweetness arrives linked to the spleen and digestive qi. If it's sudden, the story may be one of emotional nourishment. Have you fed your spirit as much as your belly? Spicy sensations sit with the lungs, connected to courage, to speaking truth. Salty surprises linked to the kidneys, reflecting ancient fears or undrained sadness swimming to the surface, asking for release like the tears they resemble. Stories brewed in old European kitchens speak another language, softer but no less charged. The phantom taste of rose, arriving in the mouth of the lonely or the newly betrothed, signaling a visitation from love, living or departed. Salt has always been the taste of sorrow and endurance. Its suddenness considered a prophecy of transformations yet ungrieved, old wounds seeking their own salting before healing can begin. Metallic flavors, a taste of iron or coins pressed against the tongue, were said to foretell a crossroads in fate, the nearness of news, the shadow of karmic reckonings looming quietly on the edge of a dull day. Each culture, unique in its poetry, shares the belief that taste is never just taste. It is a code, a whisper from somewhere beyond the boundaries of flesh and bone. In the world's folklore, even the most rational must pause beneath the superstitious moon. The mother tasting copper before her son returns from war, the priest tasting sweet wine in the air before a great reconciliation. In Central Europe, phantom honey in the mouth was a sign that prayers had been heard, even if not yet visibly answered. In Ireland, a sudden peppery burn carried the blessing, or warning, of the Fae, a playful nudge to listen for whispers on the wind. Taste suspends time. It is, for a moment, a conversation with the invisible. No story glows brighter with meaning than those told not by ancient chronicles, but by real lives, lived recently under the hush of modern lighting. Mina, a gentle, sharp-eyed woman who came to meditation out of necessity rather than belief, told her closest friend of a night when despair washed over her like a rainstorm. She sat in silence at her altar, a single candle flickering, no tears left but the memory of them darkening the edge of her soul. As she breathed, guiding her thoughts through the raw architecture of longing and regret, she tasted salt. At first it was subtle, then profound, as if she were at the ocean's edge, lips pressed to the tide, even though she was inland by hundreds of miles. The salt built in the back of her throat, briny, alive, and oddly cleansing. She wept, not from sorrow, but from the blessed surprise of recognition, the taste accompanying, even preceding, the wave of old grief rising and at long last rolling out, as if washed away, left foaming and gentled at her feet. Salt, an ancient preservative, became the flavor of healing itself. After that night, her burdens grew lighter. She wrote in her journal that she'd never known such a clear sign that her body and soul were together, spelling out a message. Let go, and trust what is leaving. On a different morning, under fluorescent lights and the unromantic hum of office life, Jamal, a man for whom the mystical was always a polite footnote, interesting but unnecessary, found himself suddenly interrupted. He'd been reviewing spreadsheets, lost in a half-exasperated calculation of cost overruns and upcoming bills. Into the monotony crept an impossible sweetness. Unprompted, his mouth bloomed with the pure taste of ripe peach. The flavor was so real he thought for an instant someone had left candy on his desk. But there was no candy, no peach, not even a crumb of anything sweet. He brushed his teeth, drank water, but still the sweetness shimmered, the faint echo of a summer he'd never known. He laughed at himself, chalking it up to stress, maybe hunger. That afternoon he received an unexpected email. A forgotten loan had been forgiven, and in its place, an advance for a creative project he'd once considered a foolish dream. Only later did Jamal remember the sweetness, and in the quiet of a commuting train, he wondered, had the universe, unbidden, given him a taste of what was about to flow into his life? The scientists would scoff, but he, who had never believed in omens or angels, silently gave thanks for the flavor and began to believe, in small, private ways, that taste was sometimes a prophecy, a gift outside of reason's cage. To bring this wisdom closer, like breath or the secret tide of blood in your wrists, is to become interactive with the world within. So, next time a phantom flavor emerges, whether sharp or soft or utterly out of place, let yourself pause. Let your hand drift to your heart, feeling the heartbeat that is as ancient as any tradition, as mysterious as the first word ever spoken. Draw in a slow breath, the way you might inhale before a gentle dive. In that pause, ask in silence, what am I ready to know? No need to search for answers with your mind alone. Your body, tuned and awakening, will respond not with a voice, but with a shifting awareness, a warmth or chill, a memory stirred, an emotion coaxed to the surface. Let your journal become the garden where these flavors grow. Set down the exact taste, not just metallic, but like pennies in a fountain, not just sweet, but like burnt caramel at the end of a carnival. Was the taste forceful or faint, pleasant or unsettling? What were you feeling before, during, after? Did the flavor call forth tears, laughter, or that shiver just beneath your ribs? The act of noticing, of recording, not judging, transforms these fleeting tastes into meaningful messengers. Time may pass before meaning emerges. Insight blooms best in patience and gentle review. Some listeners will experience skepticism, and that's welcome. Skepticism is one more flavor to catalog, but through attention, witnessing, breathing, reflecting, writing, patterns arrive. Salt accompanying sadness that finally finds words, bitterness visiting anger, trying to escape its cage. A gentle citrus note on day's joy feels possible for the first time in months. In recording, you build a lexicon of sensation, a private Rosetta Stone for your energy's secret dialect. Spirit, body, and mind become co-authors of the stories remembered by your taste buds. All this brings us into the heart of the mirror principle. The world, in its strangeness and simplicity, reflects inward what is longed for, what is feared, what is ready to be released. Phantom tastes appear as mirrors, not of the world's food, but of your internal landscape. A coppery tang might echo repressed anger waiting to be acknowledged and cleansed. An impossibly sweet note mirrors gratitude unspoken, love withheld, the soul's desire to notice beauty again. Bitter, sharp, or sour can reflect what you sense coming before it appears in outer reality, intuitive foresight encoded in flavor. Some flavors mark clearing, the body's way of transmuting old energies into something lighter, lifting. Others are love notes from your higher self. You are ready. The message always hums, even if you only catch it half aware. With each new flavor comes, perhaps, the simplest and deepest message. You are not just a passenger in your body, but its translator, its co-dreamer, its kind witness. Phantom tastes invite you to honor what has been unspoken within and to trust the dialogue between your senses and your soul. All these mysteries are, ultimately, invitations to curiosity, to gentleness, to knowing yourself differently. Perhaps now, as you finish listening, you feel that subtle buzz, the sense of having been invited to a new way of paying attention. Phantom tastes are not interruptions, they are openings, doorways to deeper connection, both to yourself and to the wider mystery. Download the magic of affirmations below to support this unfolding. Let its words align your energy to the rich, layered language your body already speaks. Trust that these flavors, once dismissed, are signs you're ready to notice more acutely, to listen more bravely, and to treasure the intricate wisdom hidden in the ordinary. I'd love to hear from you. What's the most vivid phantom taste you've ever experienced, and did it carry a message? Share it in the comments. If you're ready to go even deeper into your body's secret languages, join me for our next video, where we'll explore how colors in your dreams reflect your personal healing journey. Until then, listen to the body, to the unseen, to the sweetness or salt on your own tongue.